Hello, my name is Meko Kaga, and with my group members Tamara Critchlow and Brittany Garcia, we are the Avengers, and this is our final presentation to the City of Peoria based off of our analysis of the STAR City model. During our general assessment, we were able to determine that the City of Peoria had some key strengths that really helped them be successful in terms of their sustainability action plan. Our memo is going to outline some of the key areas we think that they've done really well, namely the built environment, and areas where we think that they can probably do a little bit better or have some more work done, namely areas such as natural systems. So first, starting off with the strengths, our plan looked into a lot of the buildings, transportation, recycling, waste, and water resource work that the City of Peoria has already done. And in these areas, they've had a lot of actual success. They have a really structured plan on how they deal with managing water resources, specifically from the Colorado River. They've instituted some really significantly strong recycling and waste-related programs. And in terms of their building development and their development of their city, they've managed to maintain low levels of density while also making sure that they're providing services such as open spaces and parks for their community members. Moving forward, we think that there are some areas here that they can be able to do some work to improve, but overall, water resources, the built environment, as well as transportation and recycling waste tend to be areas where the City of Peoria has had a lot of success. Moving on to some of their weaknesses in terms of their sustainability action plan. A while back in 2012, the City of Peoria first began instituting LEED work and really pushing to have buildings in the city pursue LEED certification and promote sustainable design. The sustainability action plan hasn't been updated since 2016. So sitting here in 2021, while they have done some work last year to put together a green team and work to establish ways to track the metrics and ensure that there was going to be success in updating the plan in the future, we still are working with a plan that is over 5 years old. And when it comes to topics such as sustainability in terms of natural environment, but also in terms of city planning, there's been a lot of research and work done in the last 5 years, and we feel that this might be a point of concern for the City of Peoria moving forward. Additionally, there seems to be an issue in terms of mixed-use development and infill housing. If we look at the summary points totals for the city, when it comes to the built environment, they were pretty strong, but the areas where that they were lacking was in terms of offering low-cost housing for people that are in lower economic statuses. And so what we'd recommend would be shoring up this kind of work and addressing two problems at the same time. One, the problem of infill development, and two, the problem of low-income housing. And we think that if the City of Peoria pursues measures that are working to increase mixed-use development and incentivize developers to do this, they'll be able to achieve both those goals at the same time. Lastly, the City of Peoria, from our research, did not have any very strong plans in terms of biodiversity, and this is an area where we feel they could shore up a lot of their weaknesses. Beyond just protecting endangered species, if they did work to tabulate and record all the various different flora and fauna that exist in the actual ecosystem and that are in their local ecosystems, and then drive a plan to be able to ensure their protection long term in 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, to ensure that development patterns don't hinder or in any way affect these populations, that would be an area that we would love to see. And we felt the City of Peoria doesn't have a strong work in that domain yet, but could use that as a way to shore up their STAR index. In terms of opportunities, the City of Peoria benefits from being located in the greater Phoenix area. You have Tempe, Phoenix, Scottsdale, a lot of these other large municipalities surrounding it, which they can collaborate with and which they have collaborated with in terms of issues such as air quality. They've also had partnerships with Arizona State University and working to figure out how to educate and communicate with their local population. And there's been communication back and forth even with classes such as this, where students and professors have been able to advise and offer solutions to some of the issues that the city might have. That being said, I still do believe that the City of Peoria could do a little bit better in offering, it could leverage a lot of the relationships it's built and a lot of the opportunities it has in terms of reaching out to local municipalities and collaborating with them in areas beyond just air quality, collaborating with them in terms of water quality, collaborating with them in terms of biodiversity, and these offer some opportunities to be able to work towards that. Additionally, while the City of Peoria, like we talked before, was very strong in terms of the built environment and areas such as education, arts, and community, there's a lot of room for growth in terms of natural systems, health and safety, equity and empowerment, as well as climate and energy. And so we feel these goal areas in the STAR Community Index offer opportunities for them to be able to become an increasingly more sustainable city in areas that they haven't focused so far. Key threats that we see for the city of Peoria in the long term are namely water resources related, climate change related, and then obviously air quality. The city of Peoria has taken a lot of major steps to work with other surrounding municipalities to monitor and maintain adequate, safe air quality. But as development increases, as the Greater Phoenix area increases in population, and as the city of Peoria increases in population, it's going to be increasingly important that they take into account that more people is going to lead to increased amounts of pollution, and increased development is going to also lead to more emissions and more pollution. And so figuring out strong strategies to be able to work and effectively protect against these in the long term is going to be very important. With regard to water resources, the Colorado River has been indicated as a river that is a point for potential water conflict in the future. Simply put, the amount of people that are going to be drawing water from this river in the next 10, 20 to 30 years is going to exceed its current capacity. And so finding unique ways to retain rainwater or shore up current water reserves is going to be important, as well as making sure that the city is more efficient in its use of water. But without addressing this effectively, this will pose a potential threat in the future. And lastly, as global climate change takes hold, there's going to be increased climatic weather events, there's going to be increased drought, there's going to be increased monsoon rainwater. And so being located in a desert climate that also is often affected by large downpours at infrequent patterns, it's important that the city of Peoria prepares their city and prepares their infrastructure to be able to be resilient against these disturbances. So our first key recommendation with regard to the built environment, which we identified as a key strength for the city of Peoria, would be to put together some form-based code to be sure that the future development that's done in the community is focused specifically on mixed-use development. This will allow the development to not only be focused on these infill areas that need to be increasingly made more walkable, increasingly made way more diverse in terms of use, but will also naturally lead to more affordable housing in low-cost areas as we increase density. Additionally, we think that the city of Peoria should really focus on making their neighborhoods more pedestrian-oriented, and in neighborhoods that the possibility is there to pursue LEED neighborhood design certification as well. Lastly, we think that as we move towards the supporting of mixed-use developments in neighborhoods, the city should promote infill developments in order to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and also promote affordable housing. Our second key recommendation area was natural systems, and we determined this was going to be an area where the city of Peoria remained weak. So our kind of three main suggestions are: A, the city of Peoria should put together a sustainability education and communication plan, which adequately outlines how they plan to convey their ideas to community members and citizens in an effective way, and then also promote sustainability education inside their classrooms so future city of Peoria's residents and young children will be able to be educated and understand not just the implications of natural systems and sustainability, but how they directly relate to the city that they live in. Additionally, we think that a committee should be put together which looks at the current sustainability action plan and works to find a balance between innovation, economy, and society and the environment. It seems that the City of Peoria Sustainability Action Plan, while it is very strong in many areas and has taken sustainability into account, is very heavily weighted towards the economic side, and not necessarily always towards the social and environmental side of things. And we feel with areas such as natural systems, where pursuing biodiversity support, pursuing ecological support, and really making sure that the city is resilient against future water crises, it's important to not just look at what's going to be successful in terms of short-term jobs, but also look long-term in environmental and social fabric, what's going to be best for the community. Lastly, we believe that doing a full-on study and really documenting all the different flora and fauna in the surrounding ecosystems, and then developing an environmental protection plan to promote not just biodiversity, but also the protection of endangered species is going to be very key for the city of Peoria moving forward, and it's going to be a step that will really help shore up this weakness of natural systems. Our last area were climate and energy. We feel this is an area where there's been some strong work, but it could also use some improvement. And our kind of three main suggestions that we're offering are: A, we believe that the city of Peoria should first, identify what main threats that they are going to really impact them. Yes, severe storms are very apparent throughout the world, but specifically in the city of Peoria and specifically in Arizona, heat-related morbidity is going to be a very key issue that needs to be looked at, and that could look like going around and actually documenting which elderly or people have been dying in the city of Peoria due to heat-related events, if this trend is increasing, and then quickly identifying steps that could lead to addressing these issues in the short and long term. Additionally, we think that City of Peoria should begin taking metrics on greenhouse gas emissions and promote policies that help incentivize sustainable transportation. Um, we've talked about in class oftentimes how transportation seems to be more culture-based for a community rather than always based on economic or environmental factors. And so if the City of Peoria can somehow be able to nudge in a very in an effective way their population to be able to pursue more sustainable transportation methods and can also provide them, we believe that this will help incentivize steps that will lead to a better climate and energy overall score in their star rating, and also just a more healthy and vibrant community overall. Lastly, we think that the City of Peoria should collaborate with local governments and local regional governments as they have in the past with air quality, but also take this to other issues such as greenhouse gas emissions. And we think a really good avenue to pursue this would be reaching out to the Maricopa Association of Governments, which they're already a member of, and working with surrounding communities and associations and governments to ensure that a lot of the objectives and goals that they're pursuing are effectively attacked, and that in the long term, the City of Peoria can work with other municipalities together to pursue these actions, because one city alone cannot really address a lot of these environmental issues that need a lot of buy-in from a lot of partners. Thank you very much, and have a great day.